At WSU, the Daily Evergreen is a nationally acclaimed student newspaper. However, with the student free speech in question in Bloomington, that has made WSU student journalists worry about their free speech. Here is what a student journalist said about student free speech.
I think student free speech, just like any other free speech in our country, is kind of intrinsic to our ability to express ourselves and express opinions and to really participate in the country as a whole. And students have just as many rights to be politically active and speak out how they want to as anyone else.
At Indiana University's student newspaper, the Indiana Daily Student, what began as a budgetary and format decision quickly escalated into a fight over editorial independence and press freedom. In mid-October of 2025, the university's media school abruptly ended the print edition of the IDS, removed its faculty advisor after he refused to censor news coverage for a homecoming issue, and cited financial reasons and a shift toward digital media. An editor of the Daily Evergreen has advice for student journalists.
Stand your ground, I think, is a big thing, and stand behind what you do, because that matters a lot.
What's critical is this conflict underscores one of the oldest and most vital rights on campus, the freedom of the press, particularly student press, and how it interacts with university administration oversight. We talked to Jordan Foley, the media law professor at WSU, about the legality of free speech for people under school policy.
I think there are a number of things to consider. The first is that there are no Supreme Court rulings on questions like this. There is law about what kinds of free speech rights students have that emerges out of K through 12 schools that some appellate jurisdictions have taken up in some circuit courts to determine.
Here at WSU, the Daily Evergreen has their own track record on policies when it comes to student media and free speech. At WSU, the Daily Evergreen is recognized as the student voice of the university. According to the university's own student media policy, and I quote, "Student editors and managers shall be free to develop their own editorial policies without interference by the university or its administrators, faculty, staff, or agencies." End quote. I asked Connor how important free speech is for student journalists.
Very important. I mean, it can be a hard line to draw. I get it. In terms of First Amendment rules and issues these days, there's kind of this debate, about what counts as an independent student paper versus what is school sponsored.
In practical terms, the university states that it shall make no rule or policy that abridges students' freedom of speech and of the press. However, the broader climate for free speech on campus remains mixed. In autumn of 2025, WSU received a grade of D- from the Free Speech Watchdog Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or better known as FIRE, up from an F the previous year, but still indicating serious concerns about self-censorship, comfort expressing ideas, and political tolerance among students.
Free speech everywhere is in slight danger, and it's not even just like, okay, there might be policies put into place, but there are already people who, might be from marginalized communities who are scared to speak out. And that, in and of itself, is an attack on free speech.
Thus, while the Daily Evergreen has policies that enshrine editorial independence, the campus environment around expression and press freedom is not free of tension.
A lot of the original cases that considered extending Hazelwood to college campuses have to do with stories where university administrators are being criticized and they don't want to be criticized or want to minimize the amount of scrutiny or heat that they're getting. And these censorship decisions are made in an institutional way to protect the reputations of those who are making the decisions.
Reporting for Murrow News 8, I am Jet Hatch with my photographer, Nushali Keo.